Okay, I've cleared scalar 2, so we have a completely fresh palette. And what I'm going to do is explain how to build a chord progression, and that will explain also the rest of the GUI to you at the same time. Now we're going to do this using just a single chord. I've been playing around, as I said, I'm not a musician, but I know what I like the sound of, so I've just been playing around with this really nice emulation of an Oberheim 4-voice. It's called BX Oberhausen. It's a plugin Alliance Brainworks collaboration, and it's a really nice ambient pad. And if I play it to you, and I've put some nice kind of mellow electronic beats behind it. I really like that chord, and what I want to do is just use that one single chord as the basis to create a chord progression and get some kind of sketch going with these beats. So the first thing we do, we have to route the MIDI of the Oberheim to scalar 2, and this is quite simple. In Ableton, all you do is where it says MIDI from, you should be able to select your Oberheim, BX Oberhausen there. And if we mute our original Oberheim and we still keep our felt piano sound, if I now play this, you should be able to see it detecting. You'll see the notes that I've chosen in this chord light up, and you should also, it should show the individual notes listed here, and we should get some kind of chord definition as well. So let's put this in record mode and press play. There we go. Let's do that again. Okay, so you can see here we have a 5-note chord, and you'll see all 5 notes detected. That's all working properly, so we're going to put this in record mode now, staying in detect, and this time it should give us a nice square with our chord neatly labelled in our first slot in our progression. There we go. D major, add 9, 11. Okay, so what on earth is all this stuff here? So we go to the middle of our GUI and you'll see detected scales, and you remember our scales mode from before. Now it's given us all these different options. Again, there are hundreds, but this is different this time. Now we've still got our play, so if we play this, we still hear the D major scale as before, but this is new. It says notes, and then we've got this value 5 out of 5, and then we've still got our information button, which gives us the note of the scale, and then we've got another new feature here, chords 1 out of 1, and then we've got the style description and the mode description as before. So what are these new parameters here, notes and chords? Well, basically we've got a 5-note chord, and it's telling us that the D major scale has all 5 of those notes that we've chosen out of the 5 in that chord, and we've only got one chord selected, and it says that entire chord will work if we keep it in D major scale, and that stays the same for a long time. There's a lot of different modes, and there we go. We have to go all the way down to the A major scale here before that value changes, and now you can see A major has only got 4 of the notes out of the 5 in the chord, and 0 of the chords will fit into that scale. So if we want to keep it what's called diatonic, where all of the notes fit into a scale, and that's what we're going to do just to keep it simple. And if we want to also select a mode or a scale that is quite simple, I'm going to choose B minor. Play it. This is the mood of B minor scale. Okay, it's serious, sad, emotional, sentimental. Do you get that kind of feeling from it? Let's play it again. most definitely, and that kind of suits the kind of laid back sound of these 808 emulation I've got going here. So I'm quite happy with that. And if we click the info, we can see the scale notes there: B, C sharp, D, E, F sharp. Okay, so we're in our B minor scale and we've got it highlighted right now. And this takes us down to the final parts of the GUI, which we haven't gone through yet. So if I was to press play right now, okay, so what's it doing there? It's just in the second octave, it's playing simple triads. As you can see, we've got triad selected here, and that's all in the B minor scale. So if you like some of those simple triads, then you can just drop them down and start building your progression, okay, which they call a pattern. So first of all, if you click on that, you can hear it. We're going to add, by dragging and dropping, we're going to add our first chord because we want to keep that. Now, as you can see, this is a lot more complex than a triad. So I want to try and keep that feel. It would sound a bit weird to go from a nice complex 5-note chord to a simple 3-note triad. So if we go to our triad feature here, you can see we can go more complex. 7ths, 9ths, 11ths, 13ths. Now what does all that mean? Well, let's play the B minor 7 chord on its own. You can see from our keyboard it's a 4-note chord. So that's getting more complex sounding. And also, if you're wondering what these are, what they're doing, these are the, you can see the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7 in the Roman numerals, and they correspond to the notes in the scale. You can see B, C sharp, D, E, F sharp, G, A, and that corresponds to the root notes of the chords that are selected for you there. So we got 7ths, and if we play some 9ths, let's play B minor 9 now. There we have 5-note chord. Okay, so now you can see we're getting in the same territory. So if you think that's too high, this is where the octave shift comes in. So let's play this first chord, and then, or if you want it to go higher, I think that works nicely. So I'm going to drag that, and that's going to be the second chord in our progression. Now I hope you can see the concept behind Scalar. It is fantastic at creating chord progressions because you can audition everything and you can imagine what they're going to sound like just by clicking on them, or you can press play. Okay, and of course you can change the speed of that playback if you use the settings. We're at 2 beats at the moment, so let's make it just every 4 beats, which will be a whole bar. So now we play this. Yep, I prefer that. Okay, close our settings. Now, how many chords you have in your progression is completely up to you. I'm going to just choose 4, and I'm just going to experiment basically, and I'm going to keep this in the 9ths, and I'm going to move on to explain what voicings is. Now, voicings is a really interesting feature. It gives you pre-chosen voicings of your chords, and if you're not quite sure what that is, all you have to do is audition the chords by clicking on them, and you can see the difference. You can see here voicing 1 and voicing 2 adds just another B minor to your chord choices, so it doesn't really change much. But you see the voicing 3 gives you an interesting addition to your chord choices. And you can see here, whenever you choose voicing, this window is now diatonic. That means that these voicings will choose chords that will fit into your scale, so you won't get anything odd out of scale happening. And you can still carry on auditioning by clicking, maybe lowering the octave. And that's how I simply you know, experiment playing these chords. If we go up into the voicings, you'll get more complex ones, sixths and sevenths, and that will probably bring us more into the territory of these more complex chords that we've already begun with. If you see the Roman numerals, we're going from 3 to 1, and that is already quite odd, so but that's nice. You see, you don't have to know anything about musical theory. That might be completely insane to do 3, 1, 4, but you know, I like it. If we press play and if we press the loop button, just want to add one more chord here, so let's choose some more. Let's go to our minor sevenths and 9 choices. We go from 4, maybe we can go up, so that's only slightly different. That's really nice. Maybe we can actually do something complex here and add 5 chords, and I'm going to shorten those when we export the MIDI. Okay, so we've got our chord progression pretty much. Let's just play it through once. Okay, so how do we get this into our DAW and start, you know, matching it to our beats? Well, it's very simple. You go to drag. As you see, drag chord to your DAW. You hold it down for a little while, and then it will drag a nice MIDI file. There you go. And if we close this for now, you'll see that it's kept the settings that we had. So we had each chord lasting for 4 beats. So basically we had each chord lasting for a whole bar. So of course, if you drag 5 of those chords, you get 5 bars, but we only want 4 bars here. So what I'm going to do is shorten that, and let's make it a 4-bar loop, and then we can get rid of our original chord here, and we can press play. Really nice. And of course we're playing scalar at the moment, so if we take scalar out of record and we put back our Oberheim, now let's see how this sounds. We need to check to see if the preset has a long delay, which will bleed over into the next chord, and that will maybe cause some clashing, but we've kept diatonic, so it might sound okay. Let's have a listen. Okay, let's tighten the attack up, take the decay down, go to the effects, let's take the delay off and the reverb. Just a tiny bit of the reverb back. Bring down the filter even more, and we can try different presets. So let's get something that's maybe a bit more moving. Okay, excellent stuff. Right, if we go back to scalar and let's open up scalar, what I want to do now to show you how we can get a nice bass line from that. And if you remember our perform features, we have these expressions. If we press play now, okay, remember those. So let's drag those over to a new MIDI track here, and let's get a nice bass sound, shall we? Let's quickly choose something. Let's choose a really nice sound from Waves. Let's get Flow Motion. Let's drag it in there. Okay, let's choose a nice bass sound. Load. And then I think let's choose a nice kind of subby sound. Awesome. Okay. And what we need to do is go into our MIDI now. And we can see where we have these bass notes here that correspond to the lowest note in the chord. Okay, so we just delete all the others and we should be able to come up with a really nice moving bass line based upon that performance that we added, that expression mode. Right, let's get rid of all these. Try and concentrate while I'm talking at the same time. Okay, and once again what we have to do is halve it, so it's a 4-bar chord, so we get rid of those at the end there, and let's get those as both G. Okay, I think that'll work. Pure guesswork here. Let's play. Let's take this volume right down. Let's go into flow motion. Let's maybe mess around. That's a nicer sound. Of course, you can move these. Get a nice kind of offbeat feel. More of a swingy kind of sound. Or you can take that back and extend those out. You can do some octave leaps, so we can go up to an octave at the end one. We can do that on our E as well. Really nice. And of course, can maybe add a nice delay to that. Let's go to our waves delay. Go back to our Oberheim. Maybe try a different sound here. Really nice. You can experiment with those till you find a really killer preset that I'm sure I could find still an even better one than that. But you can see we've created a nice bass line and a lovely chord progression, and that's you know, that's pretty complex chord progression that we're doing. If you're not a musician, you don't know what we're talking about. If you knew that you would be able to create a chord progression with those kind of chords, E minor with added 13ths and F sharp minor 7 with a flatted 9, you know, you'd be like, what? How have I done that? Well, there you go. It's just by auditioning and then dragging into your pattern and then dragging that over and exporting. And next, I'm going to show you how you can alter these chords even more.